So cloud brokerages are absolutely taking over the real estate industry right now. So much so there's actually 4 major cloud brokerages out there right now. You have eXp Realty at about 85,000 agents, Real Broker at about 26,000 agents, LPT Realty at a little over 10,000 agents, and Epique Realty around 5,000 agents. And each of these companies have slight variations of the cloud brokerage model with their own unique pros and cons to the company. Now, I've done a deep dive into all 4 of these companies, including interviewing agents at all 4 major cloud brokerages to do side-by-side comparisons. So today I'm going to tell you which cloud brokerage I recommend for you based on where you're at in your specific real estate career. So I'm going to be ranking all 4 cloud brokerages for non-producing agents, new agents, listing agents, buyer agents, team leaders, brokerages, and real estate agent influencers. Now, quick side note, I am with Real Broker, but I'm going to try my best to be as unbiased as I can, give full explanations of why I'm ranking each brokerage the way that I am, and I absolutely am going to recommend other brokerages over Real depending on where you're at in your specific real estate career. Now, I tried my best to be as accurate as I can with this information, so much so that I actually wrote a 7,000 word article with links to all of my sources for all the facts that I'm citing in this video. And I did that just to make sure I'm fact checking myself. And I also reached out to agents at eXp, LPT, and Epique, again, just to get further context and really understand the different models. But if I get anything wrong or I misspoke, or you want to add further context to anything they said, feel free to fact check me down in the comment section below. I don't mind at all. I actually appreciate it. While you're down there, I'd actually love to hear how you would rank these 4 cloud brokerages for these different milestones in a real estate agent's career. So let's jump right in and start off with non-producing agents. So let's say that you are an investor and you do 1 to 2 deals a year, or you got your license but you're not really ready to start your business yet, or maybe you got your license so that you could sell your own home and save on the commission. Well, in this case, I'm going to recommend LPT Realty as my #1 pick. I'm ranking them #1 partially because LPT has no monthly fee, and they're also the cheapest brokerage if you're not selling a lot of homes. So on LPT, you would have to pay a $500 annual fee on your first transaction of the year, plus a $500 flat fee for the transaction, plus a $195 transaction fee on top of that as well. So if you're selling 1 home a year, it would cost you $1,195, and then another $695 for every transaction after that. Now, I'm ranking them #1, assuming that you're not actually trying to build a career. So training is not really important to you. Technology, culture, community, additional streams of income, I'm assuming these things are not important to you and that you're really just looking for the cheapest brokerage to hang your license. If that's what you're looking for, then yeah, LPT Realty would be my #1 pick. Now, my second pick is actually going to be Real Broker. Real Broker is the second most affordable brokerage out of the 4 cloud brokerages. And in some kind of unique situations, they actually may be less expensive than LPT. Now, this is because Real Broker gives you 3 personal deals a year. So going back to if you're trying to sell your own home or if you're an investor buying properties for yourself, in that case, Real actually would be more affordable than LPT. Now, Real Broker says that you get free deals, but technically what they really mean is that you don't pay the 15% of a commission because they're your deals. There really is no commission. So you still have some fees with that, and that's going to be a $285 transaction fee because they still need to review all your contract and documents and make sure it's in compliance with your state's regulation. You have a $40 E&O insurance fee, and then Real Broker has a $750 annual fee. It gets taken out of your first 3 transactions of the year, $250, $250, $250, and if you only have 1 transaction, you don't have to pay the rest. But on your very first transaction of the year, you would have a $250 as part of your annual fee. And Real Broker does have a $249 sign-up fee, which you only ever pay 1 time for your entire lifetime at Real Broker. So if you're only doing 1 personal deal a year, at Real Broker, it costs you $575 a year, versus at LPT, it would actually cost you $1,195, regardless if it's a personal deal or not. So in that scenario, Real actually would be more affordable. If it's not a personal deal, then at Real, instead of the $285 transaction fee, instead, Real would take 15% of your commission until you cap. So you'd have a 15% of your commission, a $250 annual fee, a $40 E&O insurance fee, and then a $249 sign-up fee for the very first year. Now, eXp Realty would be my 3rd choice for non-producing agents because eXp does charge a monthly fee of $85 a month. So this is $1,169 a year, whether you sell anything or not. So if you go a full year without selling anything, they're still taking money from you. So let's say you close one transaction at eXp. Well, they're going to take 20% of your commission compared to 15% at Real or $500 at LPT. They're going to charge you a $25 transaction review fee, a $60 risk management fee, and a $149 sign-up fee on top of their $85 a month technology fee. So they're definitely a good bit more expensive compared to Real Broker or LPT. Now, Epique Realty would be my fourth choice for a non-producing agent. A couple reasons for this. First off, they charge a $149 monthly fee, comparing that to an $85 monthly fee at eXp or no monthly fees at Real Broker. Epique Realty also charges 15% of your commission, which is what Real charges, but at Epique, you actually pay two different caps at the same time. So they take 15% and they're going to charge you a high transaction fee of up to $500 per transaction. So how that works is, in addition to the 15%, they're going to charge you 0.1% of the sales volume as a transaction fee up to $500. So it's a $400,000 house, it's a $400 transaction fee. Anything above $500,000, then it's a $500 transaction fee in addition to your 15%. Now, Real Broker has a transaction fee and a percentage, but it's one or the other, right? You either are paying 15% or you're paying a transaction fee. eXp is the same way. You are either paying 20% or a transaction fee. At Epique, you're paying a 15% plus a $500 transaction fee until you cap at $5,000. So effectively, they have a $20,000 cap, not a $15,000 cap like they market. And so Epique is going to be the most expensive out of all four of them if you're only selling one transaction a year. And even if you don't sell any homes, they're still the most expensive because you have that $149 monthly fee. So now let's talk about if you're a brand new agent and you want to build a big career in this industry. So what's really important to you is going to be training and mentorship, maybe technology, and cost is still going to be a pretty big factor for new agents. So the number one brokerage for new agents, I'm actually going to rank Real Broker. So in terms of cost, we are the second most affordable out of the four cloud brokerages, and we don't have any monthly fees like Epique or eXp Realty. That's actually pretty concerning and a pretty big priority for newer agents. It's just saving a little bit of money that you're actually earning. Now, training is going to be really important for a new agent, and Real Broker has fantastic training. eXp Realty also has fantastic training. They both have really good training, but what's different is the model in which they're providing that training. So at eXp Realty, most of your training is going to be from your downline, and it's going to be exclusive only to that downline. So if you want to get training from somebody else in a different downline, you can't because you're not in their network, right? How they've structured it is they have all these competing networks and downlines that is where you get your training from, and they're all competing against each other. And if you want to get training from someone else, you either have to leave that downline, come back to eXp 6 months later and join a different network, or oftentimes you can pay to get access to this other training. Now, eXp does have sort of a community pot of available training for everybody as well, but a lot of these people are reserving their best training for the people who put them down as a sponsor and join their network. Now, Real Broker, we've gone in a very different direction. We don't do any of that. At Real, we actually have rules against promising anything of value in exchange for putting somebody's name down as your sponsor. So at Real, everybody has access to everybody's training. There are no private downlines or networks exclusively just for somebody's downline. So you're going to get access to all the top agents in this company, all the training in the company. So I, for example, teach a monthly mastermind all about YouTube in the Real Academy. Everybody in the company has access to that, not just the people in my network. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I like Real's model better, that everybody has access to everybody's training. I feel like it fosters a culture of collaboration versus a culture of competition. And as a newer agent, you're going to get access to high quality training from a wider range of top producing agents. Now, Real also has a pretty unique mentorship program. So eXp has a mentorship program as well, but our model is slightly different. At eXp, when you join, you're actually required to use one of their mentors, and the mentor is assigned to you. You have to give a percentage of, I believe, your first 3 transactions to the mentor assigned to you. I've talked to a lot of eXp agents who are very bitter about this. They didn't feel like their mentor did anything to deserve that, and they just see money coming out of their pocket and didn't get much value out of that. Now, Real Broker, we launched a mentorship program as well. It's a little bit different. Ours, first off, is completely optional, even for new agents. And with ours, you actually get to interview and choose what mentor you want. And different mentors can charge different amounts of your next 3 transactions. So for example, I know a lot about YouTube. I could sign up for the mentorship program and say, hey, I want to take 50% of your next 3 transactions, but I'm going to teach you everything I know about YouTube and how to build a YouTube channel that generates you leads, right? So we have these people really specialize in specific skills, and you can hire them as a mentor and work with them, and you don't have to pay upfront for it. You can pay out of your next 3 transactions. So if it actually works, then you can pay them. And so you can interview different agents. Some agents charge 25%, some charge 15%. So it's kind of a wide spectrum for you to get a mentor, and you can handpick your own mentor. So it's kind of a very different than eXp's model. But I think this is really valuable for new agents. I highly recommend that you either join a team or you get a mentor if you are a brand new agent. And at Real, we also offer co-sponsorship. So when you join Real Broker, you can put 2 people down as your sponsor. And for new agents, there actually can be a lot of value in having 2 different sponsors into the company. So as an example, when I have a new agent reach out to me and they want to join Real, what I like to do is find them a local co-sponsor. So I'll find somebody in their exact city to co-sponsor them with me into the company. This way I can be a resource for them when they come into Real, but they also have somebody local that can help them answer questions about their contract or the MLS that I may not be able to answer. So at Real Broker, you can have 2 direct sponsors versus other companies like eXp can only have 1 sponsor. So the number 2 spot for new agents is going to go to eXp. eXp is actually a pretty solid option for new agents. Now they are the second most expensive cloud brokerage, but they have a couple unique advantages over, let's say, Real. And one of them is that they are the largest cloud brokerage. So they're currently at 85,000 agents. Now that is globally, all over the country, all over the world is 85,000 agents. I've heard estimates saying about 20,000 of those are in other countries. So it's more like 65,000 agents or so here in the United States. But that does mean that you would get access to a larger community, larger potential pool of possible teams so that you could join as a new agent as well. And one unique thing about eXp is that they do have the eXp world. And so this is sort of like this cartoony virtual world where you have an avatar and you walk around, and this is where the majority of your training is going to come from. You have to log into the eXp world, walk your avatar to like a theater room, sit down, and then you can watch the training. That's my understanding. And here's the truth. I've talked to hundreds of agents over the last couple of years about joining Real, and I always ask them, about their current brokerage. And the feedback that I've gotten is that most producing agents that I know, people are actually closing transactions and actually building a business, they don't like eXp World. They don't ever use it unless they have to. But I find that a lot of new agents actually do like eXp World. It kind of gives them something to do, and it makes them feel like they're connected in a way. And so this is kind of like a positive for eXp for new agents, is that you get access to this eXp World. Real Broker has no interest in doing anything like that. I don't think the other companies have any interest in doing anything like that. So that's kind of a unique feature to eXp. Now, the drawbacks, like I mentioned before, is, in my opinion, how they structure their training and how a lot of the training is exclusive and only available to you if you're in somebody's network. I see that as a drawback. They are one of the most expensive, the second most expensive. So you're going to spend a good bit more money at eXp out of your first few transactions. And we all know how hard it is to break into this industry and to survive your first year. You really want to save as much money as you can, in my opinion. And then I'm not wild about their sponsorship program and how they make it mandatory and you can't choose your sponsor. So again, that's more of your commission just leaving your pocket because of their mandatory sponsorship for new agents. So the number 3 spot goes to LPT Realty. So they are the cheapest cloud brokerage out there. So you may technically save money at LPT compared to Real or eXp. However, I have very serious concerns about the quality of the training, the technology, and the community at LPT Realty. So LPT also gives away the least amount of stock and the least amount of rev share out of any of the companies. And being a new agent, you may say, well, I'm not concerned about rev share and stock, but you kind of should be. I personally have a good bit of stock in a Real Broker. I get a good bit of revenue share, and it motivates me to give back to this community, right? This is why I teach free classes in the Real Academy, because I'm an owner in this company, right? How often do you own a stock that you actually have an influence over? And this incentivizes me and incentivizes everybody else to collaborate and give back to this community. And I absolutely believe that the amount of revenue share and stock that a company gives to their top producer is going to have a direct impact and correlation with the quality of the training that they're going to get. Now, Real Broker gives away the most rev share and the most amount of stock out of all 4 companies, and I think that we have some of the best training. LPT gives away the least amount of stock and the least amount of rev share out of all 4 companies, and I have very serious concerns about the quality of the training because of that. Now, a couple other things. LPT has 2 business plans. You have your business builder, which is the $500 per transaction plus a $195 transaction fee that I mentioned before. And then you have your rev share partner plan, which is what you need if you want to be a team leader or get the big annual stock award. And that's an 80-20 split with a $15,000 cap. Now, I don't know the exact numbers, but I've talked to high-level attractors at LPT, and I've asked them, hey man, what percentage of your downline is with the business builder? They've told me 95%. So I wouldn't be surprised if 95% of the company is with the business builder plan. So they're not even getting any rev share, and they're getting very, very little stock. And you also have to ask yourself, what type of agent is attracted to the cheapest brokerage out there? It's probably going to be very low producing agents. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's not a lot of high producing agents at LPT, and there really is no incentive for them to give their time back to the community and give the highest quality training that they can to that community. And so in terms of the quality of training and community at LPT, I'm very dubious about it. Also, you have to worry about the quality of the technology that they provide as well. Typically, if you go with the cheapest in anything, they're not going to have the best technology, right? The cheapest is usually going to have the cheapest technology, the cheapest training, the cheapest everything. It's just something to keep in mind you get what you pay for. And so, of course, number 4 spot goes to Epique Realty. Epique Realty is the most expensive cloud brokerage, as I said before. That is a pretty big factor for new agents. They're also the smallest brokerage. So this means that they have the smallest community that you can actually tap into and connect with. And I would assume they'd have the smallest library of training available to their agents because of that. And if you're a new agent and you want to join a team, you're good luck with that because there's only 2,000 agents in the entire company. So I think Epique is probably the least best fit for a brand new agent. So next, let's say that you are a listing agent. So you're doing far more listings every year than you are buyers. So in this case, your priority is going to be flexible branding and connecting and masterminding with other listing agents, and costs and savings is still going to be a pretty big factor for pretty much all agents as well. So the number 1 cloud brokerage for listing agents could actually go to Epique Realty. Now, there is some nuance to this. There is kind of a specific scenario where Epique Realty could be the best fit for a listing agent. But let me first explain Epique's business model because it's actually unique out of these 4. So Epique Realty is the most expensive cloud brokerage. Bottom line, that's a fact. It's quantifiable. However, their model is that they have a couple of different ways that they add value to the agents, with the idea that the agent's going to save money in these different areas. And the idea, I would imagine, is that they're going to be a net positive by being at Epique Realty if you hit certain production milestones. So what I mean by that is Epique Realty, for example, provides free photography for your listings. They provide a free transaction coordinator service for all your transactions, and they even install signs for free, and they even provide free car washes to all real estate agents. So you're paying more, but their idea, their philosophy is if they can provide value, you're still going to be net savings. So what that means is that you need to do a break-even analysis. You need to evaluate all the value adds that they have at this company and see where you're actually going to save money in your business. So I'll give an example. They often tout about how they give free car washes. That's great and all, but a car wash costs $30. So even if you got a car wash every single month, that's a savings of $360, right? If you're spending an extra $7,000 a year, saving $360, it's not a whole lot. And so you actually need to go through and add up all the different savings that you think that you would get and see if you would break even or if you would actually save money at the end of the year. Now, Epique Realty claims that they have over 50 different ways that they provide value to their agents. And you may hear that and be like, oh, wow, that means I'm going to save a lot of money. But then you dive into their website, and some of those value adds are like provide weekly training, which is something that all the brokerages do, or provide access to health insurance, which is something that I know eXp and Real Broker both have as well. And so a lot of those value adds are the exact same ones that all the brokerages do as well. So I'd be very cautious with this 50 ways that they add value marketing piece that they throw out all the time. And really what you need to look at is like, what is the value add that they have that you're not going to get compared to, let's say, a Real Broker. And that's what you need to kind of compare your costs here to somebody like Real Broker. So let's nerd out for a second and just do a detailed break-even analysis just so you can kind of see how to do it. And you need to do this in your own business to see if you would save money at Epique Realty at the end of the year. So let's assume that you do 20 transactions a year. 10 of those are buyers, 10 of those are listings. And let's assume that your average sales price is $500,000, average commission of 2.5%. That works out to an average commission of $12,500 per transaction. Now, Epique charges a 15% split plus a $500 transaction fee on your first 10 transactions of the year at the same time until you cap at $5,000 for the transaction fee, and they charge $149 monthly fee. So with the $15,000 cap, you're going to cap after 8 transactions. With the $500 transaction fee, that's going to cap at $5,000, which is 10 transactions in the scenario. And then everything after that is just a $250 transaction fee. So that adds up to a $15,000 cap plus a $5,000 transaction fee cap, another $2,500 of transaction fees on the next 10 transactions, because it's $250 transaction fee after the $5,000 cap for 10 transactions. And then you have $1,788 in monthly fees. Grand total to sell 20 homes a year at Epique at $500,000 for each of those homes is $24,288. Now, just to get a kind of a reference here, at Real Broker, you would only pay $17,535 for 20 transactions. So Epique is going to be $6,753 more expensive than a Real Broker in this scenario. So then the question becomes, with the added value that Epique provides, are you going to save more than $6,700 being an agent at Epique or less? Now, a lot of the savings that they offer to agents, in my opinion, it leans heavily towards listing agents and not so much towards buyer agents. If you're a buyer agent, it's almost certainly not gonna save enough money to make this worth it. If you're a listing agent, you actually might. So let's look at the transaction coordinator. Now, I'm assuming that their transaction coordinator is pretty bare bones, right? It's not gonna be a really in-depth one. It's gonna be just kind of the essentials. But let's give that a $200 value for a transaction coordinator across 20 transactions. Now, they're also going to pay for a basic photography package as well. And let's give that a $250 value. That's going to be across your 10 listings, so 10 transactions. And they're going to have somebody install your sign for you as well. This is a common service. You can find these around. Let's say it's $30 value per sign install. If you add all that together, you're going to save $6,800, which is just slightly above the $6,700 difference. So this is your break-even point. Any listings that you have above this, you actually are going to be a net positive at Epique compared to Real Broker. Now, this doesn't factor in any of the stock awards from the two companies, doesn't factor in any of the rev share. This is just an example of how to do a break-even analysis, and then in some scenarios it may be cheaper at Epique than Real Broker. And this also doesn't factor in culture, community, training. Like I said before, Epique is the smallest cloud brokerage of around 2,000 agents. And so you're not going to have as big of a network and community to tap into. You're not going to have as big of a library of training or live streams to tap into either. It also doesn't factor in any of the unique technology that eXp or Real Broker has. But I did want to point out that Epique could be the cheapest for listing agents if you do enough listings every single year, and if cost savings is like your number one priority. So the number 2 spot is going to go to Real Broker. And so why am I ranking them above eXp and LPT? Well, Real Broker, you're going to save about $4,000 a year compared to eXp Realty. $4,000 is pretty significant, right? That's extra marketing for all your listings. That is a transaction coordinator or a sign installer that you could pay for with that $4,000 a year savings. Real Broker also has the highest Elite Agent Award. Our Elite Agent Award is currently $20,000 in free stock. You can earn that every single year. Compared to eXp's Icon Award, which is $16,000 in free stock, divided up amongst 3 separate awards and requirements, or Epique's Power Award, which is $15,000 in free stock. Also, in my personal opinion, I think that Real simply has a better name and better branding. I think that this Real logo looks better on yard signs than some of the other logos out there. Personal opinion, of course. Another thing to consider is that Real agents simply sell more homes and at higher volumes than eXp agents do. Both companies just released their fourth quarter financial reports, and if we take a look at that, we can see that at Real Broker, in the fourth quarter, they sold 35,370 homes. If we divide that by their 24,140 agents they had at the end of Q4, that's an average of 1.46 homes per agent. If we take a look at the exact same number for eXp Realty, in Q4, they sold 103,942 homes. Divide that by their 82,980 agents, you get an average of 1.25 homes. So on average, Real Broker agents sell more homes. Now we take a look at the volume as well. In Q4, Real sold $14.6 billion in volume. Again, if we divide that by 24,140 agents, you get an average volume of $604,000 per quarter. For eXp, in Q4, they sold $45.3 billion in volume. You divide that by 82,980 agents, that's an average of $545,000 in volume per agent. So if you want to surround yourself with actual producing agents that are in the field selling homes, Real Broker agents simply sell more homes and at higher volumes than eXp agents do. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I showing you Q4 numbers and not the full 2024 numbers? And the reason for that is that Real Broker almost doubled in size in 2024. We grew by 70% in those 12-month periods, and so that greatly skews the data. We have agents that have maybe only been with the company for a month, 3 months, 6 months, and at the same time, eXp actually lost 5% of their agents over 2024. So again, it just kind of skews the data, and looking at it in quarter or 3-month segments just gives you a more accurate representation of this. I did crunch the same numbers for Q3 of 2024, and again in Q3, Real Broker agents sold more homes and at higher volumes than eXp agents did. So the third spot is going to go to eXp Realty. As I pointed out already, they are more expensive, about $4,000 a year. If you hit their Icon Award compared to Real Broker's Elite Agent Award, you're going to get $4,000 less in free stock every year. So if you count just those two things alone, if you count that stock as cash equivalent, eXp is going to be $8,000 a year more expensive. They also don't pay their agents as much in rev share. However, they do have the largest community. They are currently 85,000 agents all around the world in different countries. So you may be able to tap into the largest community. It's just not going to be the highest producing community. And the fourth spot goes to LPT Realty. As I pointed out before, they are the cheapest brokerage. You may actually save money there compared to all the other ones, but you are going to be greatly sacrificing the stock, the rev share, the community, the culture, the training, and the technology. I just don't believe that those things are very strong at LPT. They are just the cheapest. And so you have to kind of balance all these things out. So if you want to surround yourself with other top producing listing agents and receive training on how to get more listings and training collaboration on different marketing tactics for selling your listings, I just don't think that LPT is the place for that. So now let's talk about if you are a buyer agent. So probably your top priorities here is going to be a mobile app, like a really robust mobile app, because you're going to be on the road all the time. Probably good training, cost savings, and probably good community as well. So for buyer agents, again, I'm going to rank Real Broker as my number one pick, right? We are the second cheapest out of all the brokerages. I think we have some of the best training in the entire industry. Our agents are producing more than companies like eXp Realty. I'm assuming the other companies as well. And we have an incredible mobile app. We've won all sorts of awards for our technology, including Inman Innovator of the Year, Inman Power Player of the Year, for our mobile technology especially. And you can run your entire business right from your mobile app, including starting and writing contracts and sending forms out to get signed all from your mobile app. One of the things I really love in the app is this new Leo AI that's fully incorporated into the app. I find it fantastic for support, fantastic for getting insights into your own business. You can ask it questions about Real's policies, where to find things, and it'll give you all that information about Real and your own business as well. I think it's super helpful. And of course, Real Broker gives away the most free stock, gives away the most amount of revenue share out of all four companies as well. You know, we all know that this industry is very fickle, very sporadic. You know, a virus or an election or an interest rate hike can suddenly kill your entire business. And having multiple streams of income to kind of smooth out your monthly income can be very, very helpful. And so I think like revenue share, like if it's something you want to focus on, that should be a concern or priority as well when you're kind of evaluating everything. Real Broker gives away the most free stock and it gives away the most revenue share. Like that is a quantifiable fact. Now, eXp Realty would be my second choice for a buyer's agent. Like Real Broker, they have a lot of training. They do have a mobile app. From my understanding right now, you can't create transactions. I don't believe that you can send contracts out to get signed. And I believe they have a second mobile app for the training, for the eXp world. But again, like they are more expensive. They don't give as much stock, as much revenue share. And I don't believe that their app is as robust as Real Broker's app, which is something that I think that you should factor into your decision as well. My third choice would be Epique Realty. Again, they're the smallest brokerage. They probably have the least amount of training, but from what I saw, they do have a decent looking mobile app, and they do advertise that you can start transactions in the mobile app. So if you're a buyer's agent, you're gonna be on the road a lot, probably waiting for buyers, waiting for inspectors on your phone. To be able to have that ability on your phone to actually move forward to your business and handle the paperwork, I think is pretty important. And LPT Realty would be my final pick for a buyer agent, largely because of the mobile app. This is, from what I saw and what I read about the mobile app, it kind of seems like the least robust and least functional mobile app out of all of them. And again, LPT being the cheapest cloud brokerage, you wouldn't expect them to have the best technology. Just in my personal opinion. So now let's say that you are a team leader and you have team members underneath of you. So what is going to be most important to a team leader like this? Well, I'd say training and like for you networking with other team leaders and learning how to grow your team. Training for your agents is going to be really helpful to get them producing. I'd say technology to help you manage those agents. Costs and fees to your agents, right? If they cost a lot, it's going to be harder. It's going to impact your agent retention. And then I'd say like revenue share as well. If you bring on a team of 5 or 10, you're going to collect revenue share on all of those agents in your team. You know, at the end of the year, you have to look at all your expenses, but also what is your income going to be from the revenue share to really figure out what your net expenses are going to be. So my number one recommendation for team leaders is going to be Real Broker. So a couple of reasons why I'm ranking Real Broker above eXp. Compared to eXp, team leaders will have a $4,000 savings in their cap, but your team members are also going to have a $2,000 savings to their cap. And so if you have a bigger team, you especially have to look at the net savings. One person saving $2,000, not that big of a deal, but if you have 10 people, that's $20,000 a year. If you have 20 agents, that's $40,000 a year that your agents are going to save. And you know, as the size of the team goes up, the total savings is going to go up as well. You as the team leader is also going to earn the highest annual stock award at Real Broker than any other cloud brokerage. And agent retention on your team is also something that you really need to factor in, right? We look at the revenue share that your agents will receive and the stocks that your agent will receive as what we call golden handcuffs. If your agents have stock that's waiting to be vested, but it's a 3-year vesting period, they're less likely to leave the company because they want that free stock that they earned. if your agents get, let's say, one producing agent in their downline, they're suddenly getting $4,000 a year in passive income from just attracting one agent in their network, they're less likely to leave the company. And so Real Broker has the best golden handcuffs for team members out of all 4 cloud brokerages in the form of our stock awards and in the form of our revenue share. This is absolutely going to increase your agent retention and financially is going to help support your agents. So let's do a quick side-by-side comparison of how much savings you would have by moving your 10 agent team over to Real Broker versus eXp Realty. So first off, the team leader's cap is going to be $4,000 cheaper at Real than it will at eXp, a $12,000 cap versus $16,000 cap. So we have $4,000 in savings. Now, the team members cap at eXp is $8,000 a year versus Real Broker, which is $6,000 a year. So multiply that by 10 agents, that's $20,000 in your agent's cap every single year. Now, the team leader is going to get $20,000 for hitting elite agent every year versus $16,000 at eXp for their Icon Award. So that's another $4,000 in savings, or up to $28,000 in savings. Now, at Real Broker, the team leader is going to get up to $2,000 per agent in revenue share, assuming that they cap. And for them to cap is about $40,000 in GCI. So $2,000 times 10 agents is $20,000 in revenue share that the team leader will receive. Now, eXp, you'll also get revenue share on your agents, but we actually don't know an exact amount anymore since they moved to the Rev Share 2.0. It is significantly less per agent than what it used to be with this new model, and I'll get into more details in this new model later. But my estimate is it would be somewhere around $1,000 per agent for a team leader. So $2,000 per agent versus $1,000. So you're going to make an extra $10,000 in revenue share from those 10 agents at Real than you would at eXp. So now the savings every year is up to $38,000 a year for moving a 10 agent team to Real compared to eXp Realty. Pretty significant. You can do a lot with that. That is like 2 virtual assistants, maybe even a transaction coordinator. It's a lot of money spent towards marketing and branding. You could do a lot for a team with $38,000 a year. Then again, if we talk about training and community for your agents, this is completely, my opinion. I think we have some of the best training in the industry. I like how open and collaborative our training is versus other models. And Real Broker's agents simply sell more homes than eXp agents do. That's just a fact. So you're going to be around higher producing agents at Real than you would at eXp. And Real Broker has some really amazing technology that you and your entire team members will get access to, including what's called Pro Teams. So with Pro Teams, you as the team leader can set custom caps and fee structures for agents in your team down to the agent level. So you can have one agent with a 80-20 split for the team, another agent, maybe they're brand new, you have a 50-50 split. And maybe a third agent, you pay all the transaction fees or E&O insurance fees, but they pay these other fees. So you can fully customize all these rules, set them, and then it gets applied to every transaction moving forward. So we call this tech Pro Teams, and I've talked to team leaders who say that this saves them hours of calculations and spreadsheets that they have to do themselves, when they have unique kind of structures with their team members. So we have far more flexibility with how you structure your team at Real than you will with other companies. So my number 2 pick would be eXp Realty. So eXp Realty does offer better revenue share than LPT or Epique. It's just not as good as Real Broker. And I'll go into further detail later on in this video. They are more expensive. They don't provide as much technology. The training and how they do that is a little bit different. They don't really produce any of their own technology, not a lot of it. What they use is called bolt-on technology. They have 3, 4, 5 different programs, and that they pay for, and they try to get them all to work together. Versus Real, where we design all of our technology in-house with our over 100 web developers, programmers, AI engineers. So I feel like the technology at Real is quite a bit better user experience than eXp. This is all going to impact your agent retention and your agent's productivity. And really the only thing that they have that Real doesn't have any real significance is going to be their eXp world. If you have a lot of newer agents on your team, they may have fun in the eXp world. If you don't have a lot of newer agents, you have a lot more experienced agents. From my conversations with a lot of agents, more experienced producing agents really never use the eXp world. And quick side note, eXp does offer a quarter cap of $4,000 for team members for their mega teams. Real Broker actually offers the exact same thing, as ours is a 1/3 cap of $4,000 for these mega teams as well. So my number 3 pick would be LPT Realty. So at LPT, for you to be a team leader, you can't be with their business builder plan. You have to be with the more expensive rev share partner plan, which is $15,000 a year. Now my understanding is that your team members with the business builder plan effectively have the exact same cap. I don't believe that they adjust the cap any, so it'd be about $5,000 a year cap effectively. It's $500 per transaction plus a $195 transaction fee until you pay them $5,000, and then it's just the $195 transaction fee. It's my understanding. And so that $5,000 cap for team members is going to be a little bit cheaper than Real Broker's $6,000 cap or eXp Realty's $8,000 cap. So they could be, the cheapest for your team members as well. However, if your team qualifies for the $4,000 cap at Real or eXp, then suddenly those two are going to be more affordable for your team members. But again, for the same reasons I mentioned before, I have real concerns about LPT's training, culture, community, and technology. In terms of golden handcuffs, they also have some of the worst. They give the least amount of rev share and the least amount of free stock out of all the companies. And if your agents are on the business builder plan, they can't even get rev share. Right? They don't qualify to even get rev share unless they pay for that $15,000 rev share partner plan. And here's another annoying thing. If you're a team leader at LPT, the rev share that you earn, you actually don't get that until you cap. So that rev share actually goes towards paying down your cap first. So every year, regardless of your personal production, you have to give them $15,000 in the cap in the form of your rev share or commissions before you can actually start earning rev share. So if you had an idea of like, oh, you're only gonna do a few transactions and you're focused on agent attraction, you can't do that really until you fully cap at the company. Just kind of another like little annoying thing that you don't see at the other cloud brokerages. So number 4 for teams is going to be Epique Realty. And here's why. Epique Realty charges team members the most out of all the companies. So with Epique Realty, they have what they call a diminishing cap. So if you join as a solo agent, your cap starts at $15,000 for year 1, $14,000 year 2, $13,000, $12,000, $1,000, $10,000. This sounds great, but there's some problems with it. And so you as a team leader are going to start off at a $15,000 cap. Your team members are just going to start off at a $10,000 cap. So already it's the most expensive out of all of them. But your team members also have that $5,000 transaction fee cap that they pay at the same time as their $10,000 cap. So they have to give up a percentage of every commission plus up to $500 per transaction for this transaction fee cap. So they effectively have $15,000 caps for team members at Epique Realty, right? Compared to a $6,000 cap at Real Broker, $5,000 cap at LPT, an $8,000 cap for team members at eXp Realty. So this is going to make it so much harder for you to retain agents, and it's going to make it harder for you to attract and recruit agents, and it's going to make it harder for you to charge a significant percentage of your agent's commissions for your team leader split. If they're already paying these outrageous fees, you're going to have a hard time convincing them to also give you a lot more on top of that. So I really feel like Epique Realty is like the worst place for teams because of how they've structured these finances. Now, Epique Realty does have a power team. So if your team is doing at least $40 million a year in volume or 140 transactions, which is a lot, then you can qualify for the power team and your team members will have a $5,000 cap instead of the $10,000. But they still have that transaction fee cap. So they have a $5,000 cap plus a $5,000 transaction fee cap, effectively a $10,000 cap. Again, compared to eXp and Real, if you qualify for their mega teams, they're going to have a $4,000 cap for your team members. So no matter how you cut it, it's going to be very hard to run a team at Epique Realty and actually retain agents on your team. Now, as far as the rev share that you get on your team members, at Epique, all your tiers are unlocked, but you earn 10% of the company dollars on all 5 of your tiers. It doesn't go up or down. And so what that means is if your team members have a $10,000 cap, then you get 10% of that, which is $1,000 in rev share. And because you only get that on their cap, I think that may be why they effectively have two separate caps that you pay at the same time, so they don't have to pay rev share on this other portion. But let's say you're a team leader and you also want to focus on agent attraction. You also want to recruit other people. Well, because you get 10% of company dollars, if you attract a producing agent outside of your team, year one, they have a $15,000 cap, means you get $1,500 in rev share. But year two, you're only getting $1,400, and then $1,300, $1,200, $1,100, and then just $1,000 indefinitely for the remainder that they're at the company. So every year, your rev share is just going to go down, 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 down for all the agents that you have, and you're just going to be endlessly like chasing this and trying to like bring this back up. But your rev share goes down every single year for anybody who starts off as a full cap at Epique Realty. So it's really not a great place for team leaders, for your team members, or for you if you want to focus on agent attraction. So now let's say that you are a brokerage, so maybe an independent brokerage or a franchise brokerage. And this actually is a growing trend that entire brokerages are switching over to Real or eXp, one of these cloud brokerages. There's a couple of big reasons for this. One is that coming to a cloud brokerage is going to save the broker a lot of headaches in terms of like managing the agents and the transactions and compliance and E&O insurance and having to provide all the training to their agents. Real Broker can take care of that, or eXp can take care of that. And these cloud brokerages benefit from the economy of scale. So they can do this far more cost effective than a small independent brokerage can do. Also, when you look at like technology, like I said before, Real has 100 developers and programmers and engineers building out our technology. So we have technology that like an independent brokerage, even if there are 100 or 500 agents, they really just can't build that on their own. Same thing with eXp, they have the eXp world that your agents get access to. And brokerages, their agents are gonna get access to a wider range of training and a huge communities and additional streams of income that an independent brokerage can't provide. So this actually is a growing trend. And so if you're a brokerage thinking about joining one of these cloud brokerages, you know, what's most important to you? Well, one is going to be like your agents and where are they going to save the most money, right? That's going to increase agent retention, increase their successfulness in their career. The revenue share that you're going to receive off of those agents, especially if you're bringing over 100, 200 agents to a company. And I say like technology, culture, community, all these things are going to be pretty big factors for an independent brokerage. So my number one pick for this is going to be Real Broker. So Real Broker actually has something specific for brokerages that want to come over called private label. And with private label program, if a brokerage or even a large team comes over, you actually don't even have to advertise that you're with Real Broker. This is called brokerage as a service. So you can keep your brand that you've spent years building, and you don't have to say powered by Real or with Real Broker. In the MLS, it doesn't have to say Real Broker. You can keep your brokerage identity with the private label program. So this is incredibly unique. I don't know of any other brokerage that provides this. And at the same time though, you still get access to all the benefits at Real Broker. You and your agents get access to all the free stock, all the rev share, all the community, all the training, all the technology, all the events, all of that, just like you're an agent here with Real. You just don't have to incorporate that with your branding. So I find this is actually very appealing to a lot of independent brokerages that want to keep their identity, but they want to offer more value to their agents as well that a large nationwide cloud brokerage can provide. The next reason I chose Real is because if you're doing over $100 million in volume, then your team members will qualify for the $4,000 cap instead of the typical $6,000 cap for team members. This means that your agents are going to save more money at Real Broker than they will at LPT, which has that $5,000 cap, which they will at eXp, which has a $4,000 cap also, but all the other fees add up and are more expensive, including the monthly fee that they have. And definitely they're going to save a lot more money than Epique Realty. So your agents are going to save more money at Real than any of the other cloud brokerages. And again, this is going to increase your agent retention. It's going to help them succeed in their careers as well. And you and your agents are going to get access to multiple streams of income. So we already talked about the rev share and the stock, but at Real Broker, we also have a cloud mortgage company called Real Mortgage, and your agents can get their mortgage loan officer license, and they can actually be the loan officer and the agent on the same transaction if they're with Real Mortgage and Real Broker. So this can act as an additional stream of income that they would have access to. You and your agents can also sign up to be a mentor at Real Broker. This can be an additional stream of income. Real Broker also has a cloud title company, and that offers joint venture. So as like the broker, you can invest into that title company and be an owner in it, and then they pay out profits every quarter to the owners of the company. So the idea here is that you are an owner in the company, and then you can tell all your agents to use your state's real title, and you kind of get a kickback by being an owner in that title company. And we have a few other streams of income as well that both you and your agents will get access to. And so when you crunch the numbers, you and your agents are going to save the most money at Real Broker. You and your agents are going to earn the most amount of free stock at Real Broker. You and your agents are going to earn the most amount of revenue share at Real Broker. I also believe that your agents are going to get access to the best quality training out of all 4 brokerages. That's my opinion, of course, but they get access to everybody's training, not just primarily their downline. And they're going to get access to some award-winning, amazing technology as well. And if you sign up for the private label program, if it's available in your state, you don't even need to advertise that you're with Real Broker. You can keep that brand of your brokerage that you spent years building. So eXp Realty would be my second choice for a brokerage. One, because they do offer that $4,000 cap for team members. And eXp and Real Broker are the only 2 publicly traded cloud brokerages. LPT and Epique are not publicly traded. Their stock is not traded anywhere. So even if you or your team members earn stock, you actually can't sell it anywhere. And you have no insights into the finances of those companies. You have no idea how healthy those companies actually are financially or how much they're growing. All you know is just what they're willing to tell you. We're at Real and eXp, we have complete transparency. We have to. We're publicly traded. And I feel like Real and eXp are in an echelon of their own because of that. These are the safe, secure bets, right? These companies are publicly traded. There's a lot of investors investing in them on the open market. LPT and Epique, you have no idea when they're going to go public, or the health of the company. If you look at a company like Compass, they offered their agents pre-IPO stock. They finally went public, and what happened? All those agents that have been holding onto that stock for years, they finally got an opportunity to sell, and they sold all their stock. And Compass originally went public at $20 a share, and then dropped all the way down to $2 a share 12 months later. And this is what happens when you have people holding on to stocks for years, waiting for it to finally go public so that they can sell the stock. The stock immediately drops and has tons of selling pressure on it. eXp and Real, we don't have that issue because we're already publicly traded. eXp and Real are also the oldest companies. Real Broker just passed our 10-year anniversary. eXp's been around for 13 or 14 years now, versus LPT and Epique, they're only 2-3 years old at this point. So they're still kind of an experiment in a lot of ways. And so I really feel like those 2 companies are much more riskier than Real and eXp are. So LPT would be my third choice for a brokerage to join. Like I said before, the culture, the community, the technology, the training at LPT, I'm very dubious about it. But also the rev share is the lowest out of any of the companies. Most agents at LPT, I think 90 to 95%, are the business builder. And if you have a business builder in your downline, the most that you can make off of them is $775 a year. That's if they sell 10 transactions. In comparison, if you have a full capping agent at Real, you can make $4,000 a year, and they only need to sell 5 or 6 deals a year for you to make that. So LPT is like the worst place for you to collect rev share, and they're not publicly traded, so the stock, you have no idea what the value is. And I just don't think it's going to provide as much value to your agents as some of the other options. And then Epique Realty would be my final choice for the same reasons I mentioned before for the teams, is that your team members are going to have a $10,000 cap plus a $5,000 transaction fee cap at the same time. If your brokerage is large enough, they may qualify for a $5,000 cap plus the other $5,000 transaction fee cap at the same time. So effectively $10,000 for your team members. And then again, you as the brokerage, you're not going to earn nearly as much revenue share off of those team members as you would in other brokerages. And if you attract anybody else outside of your team, you're not going to earn nearly as much revenue share from them either. So now let's talk about if you're an influencer of some type in the real estate industry. So maybe you're a coach, or you're a podcaster, or a speaker, or a content creator like me. In this case, we're primarily just going to focus on revenue share. And we're going to take a deep dive into all 4 companies' revenue share plans, and I'll go over how I would rank all 4 of them based on revenue share alone. So for influencers focused on rev share, Real Broker is the obvious number 1 choice, and I can make very strong arguments supporting that statement. So at Real Broker, for every capping agent you bring into your tier 1, you'll earn 5% of every commission they close until they cap, which is a maximum of $4,000 a year. Bottom line, you earn more per agent than at any other cloud brokerage. That is a fact, and it's not even like a close gap. It is a very wide gap of how much more you earn per agent. And if you have a network of 500 people at Real versus LPT versus Epique versus eXp, almost always you're going to earn more at Real Broker from your network, from your downline. And just to give a comparison, so at Real Broker you earn $4,000 a year for a capping agent. At LPT, the most you can earn is $775 for a business builder who caps, and that's after 10 transactions, which is almost twice as many as you need at Real. If they're at LPT and they sign up for the Rev Share Partner Plan, then the most you can earn off of them is $235 in Rev Share per year. If they're at Epique Realty, the very first year you're going to make $1,500 a year off of them, and then $1,400, then $1,300, then $1,200, then $1,100, and $1,000 a year every year after that. Now at eXp, with their Rev Share 2.0 program, you can no longer accurately estimate how much money you'll make off of an agent each year. It used to be that you earn a percentage of every commission until they cap, like at Real Broker. What they've done now, though, with eXp is that they've essentially unlocked your first 3 tiers of agents. You don't need to qualify to unlock those. And so they're paying out on more agents, but they're paying out significantly less per agent. So eXp and LPT, and I believe Epique as well, they've set the threshold that they will only pay out 50% of their monthly revenue back to agents in the form of revenue share. Real Broker, we will pay up to 60% of our monthly revenue back to agents in the form of revenue share. So in terms of revenue per agent, hands down we pay out the most. In terms of percentage of monthly revenue, hands down we pay out the most. But what eXp has done is that even before eXp 2.0, they had more agents that they had to pay revenue share on, that it exceeded that 50% threshold. And what they would do is just lower everyone's rev share without telling them. So agents would think that they're making a certain amount, and they would get less, not really understand why. And it's because eXp was supposed to pay out on too many people that exceeded 50%. So they were already reaching that 50% cap before. Now they have effectively paying out on more agents, but they are assuring that they're hitting this 50% threshold every single month. And so there's no way for you to accurately estimate how much you're going to get now. And so they don't even put in a percentage of a commission anymore. In their new model, what they show is that you are going to get a percentage of the overall rev share pool for that month. And how much you get paid is going to fluctuate depending on how many other agents are in that particular tier. So let's say tier 1, how many other tier 1 agents they need to pay out on, and how many other total agents they need to pay out on for that month. So one estimate an eXp agent told me is that they're getting about half as much as they used to in revenue share per agent. Now, if you talk to an eXp agent, they're going to tell you, yeah, but eXp has 7 tiers, Real only has 5 tiers. But what they don't tell you is that Real Broker pays out far more on all 5 of those tiers than eXp does on all 7 of the tiers. And so it's just a different iteration of this model. And one of the dirty little secrets in this industry is that at eXp, an estimate I've heard multiple times now is that less than 1% of agents ever receive revenue share on their 7th tier at eXp. It is very rare and very hard to unlock all 7 tiers, keep them unlocked, and have agents on the 7 tiers that will pay you revenue share. So Real Broker knew this when they created their own revenue share plan. And if you actually look at the old eXp model, what Real Broker did was effectively eliminate the $4,000 7th tier revenue share, and then they passed that savings on to all agents. That is why our cap is $4,000 cheaper, because we eliminated that seventh tier, which is $4,000 in revenue share. The tier above that, which is $2,000, we effectively added that to the first 5 tiers, which is the tiers that agents actually unlock and actually receive revenue share on the most. So we'll try to create a plan that is just more advantageous for the average agent and makes it much easier for agents to build real wealth through revenue share. You also notice that at Real, they pay out the most on tier 1 versus eXp, they pay out the most on tier 7, the hardest tier to unlock. Another tricky thing that they do at eXp is that they pay out more on tier 2 than they do tier 1. But you need producing tier 1 agents to unlock your tier 4, 5, 6, and 7 at eXp. So you're stuck with this problem, like, do I put them in my tier 2 and make more revenue share, or do I put them in my tier 1 that's going to help me unlock tiers, maybe down the road I'll make more revenue share. Real Broker, we didn't do any of that. You need tier 1 agents to unlock your 5 tiers of revenue share, and we pay out the most on tier 1. So we're really trying to devise this and create a plan that is most advantageous for the average agent. Another thing to consider, if you're an influencer and you're trying to build a network and attract agents to your downline, eXp has lost agents every single quarter for over a year now. Every single quarter, the last 4 quarters in a row, they have lost more and more and more agents. They just have this downward momentum to the growth of the company right now. And it's very hard to grow a network and attract people to a company when the company itself is losing agents. Real Broker, on the other hand, we have about doubled in size every year for the last 4 years in a row. So last year, technically, we grew 70% in 2024. Year before that, I think, is well over 100%. So if you average out the last 4 years, it's above 100%. Every 12 months, we're doubling in size. And I see no sign of us stopping that momentum and that growth. So if you're trying to grow a network, being at a company that's doubling in size every 12 months, it's going to make your life a lot easier than being at a company that's actually shrinking. Now, to be fair, one of the advantages at eXp's model is that the first 3 tiers are automatically unlocked, and you have to unlock the final 4 tiers. You do that by having producing agents in your tier 1. At Real Broker, your first tier is unlocked, and you have to unlock your final 4 tiers. You do that by having producing agents in your tier 1. There is a second way to unlock tiers at Real Broker as well, and that is through our debit and credit card. Real Broker has partnered with a bank, launched a debit and credit card for our agents to use. If you use it, you'll earn points on those cards. Those points will go towards paying down your cap and fees. They say they're also going to allow us to use those points to unlock tiers of revenue share. That should be coming later on this year. So even if you don't have enough tier 1 agents, you still a way for you to unlock those tiers of revenue share. So my second choice for influencers would be eXp Realty. They have a very similar revenue share plan to Real Broker. They definitely have a better plan than Epique or LPT. So if you think that you're going to build a network that is going to pretty quickly recruit more people, and you're going to pretty quickly have people in your tier 3, that's something to consider with eXp. However, the trade-off is that they pay so much less on those agents than you would get at Real Broker. So if they're paying half as much, you need twice as many agents to make the equivalent. And here's another little dirty secret to this agent attraction world that you may not be aware of, but both at Real Broker and eXp Realty, only about 15% of the agents at both companies receive any revenue share. So let that sink in. Only about 15% of the agents that you bring into the company are going to bring anybody else in. So oftentimes you get these people that paint this picture like, oh, if you bring in 20 people, they each bring in 20 people, they each bring in 20 people going down 7 tiers, you're gonna make all this money. But the reality is that the vast majority of agents, 80 to 90% of agents, don't bring in anybody. And that's just the nature of the beast. And it's something to factor in, that it is actually pretty hard to build out a multi-level network of agents. And so that's why I personally prefer a model that incentivizes you to put agents on your tier 1 and pays out the most on that tier. My number 3 choice would be Epique Realty. As I pointed out before, they have diminishing caps, which means they have diminishing revenue share, but nonetheless, it goes from $1,500 per agent down to $1,000 per agent. It's interesting that they just have that flat across the board on all 5 tiers as well, and I believe all 5 tiers are unlocked. And then my number 4th choice would be LPT Realty. Again, the most you can make off an agent is $775. And in order for you to even make all that, they have to close the most amount of transactions out of all the companies, which is 10 transactions a year, which you know that most agents going to a discount brokerage like that are probably not even doing 10 transactions a year. All right, I think I lost my voice recording this one. It's such a long video. But look, I am with Real Broker, and if you guys are interested in learning more about Real Broker, why I decided to move my business over here, I'd be more than happy to hop on a video call with you. And if you join, I'd be happy to be your sponsor into the company as well. I have a link down in the description below where you can schedule a one-on-one video call with myself. And if you want to watch one of my friendly agent debate videos where I bring on an LPT agent, bring on an Epique agent, eXp agent, and we do a side-by-side comparison where they talk about their value proposition and their costs and fees, and I talk about reels, and we do point by point, side by side. I love that model because we're both incentivized to kind of paint the best picture as we can of both our companies, and you make sure that this information is accurate as possible. So I have a bunch of those interviews that I've done. You can check those out right here. And thanks so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you.